produce asphalt, that make your asphalt and build highways. We do have some maintenance contractors that do some of the things that Ben was talking about, but it's not our primary function. So I guess I preface that and I mention that because I feel comfortable presenting the information that we are, because we're not pitching a product to you. Our contractors aren't going to benefit from whether or not you pick a chip seal over a microsurface. Our contractors generally build and maintain the roads, so it's your overlays, it's your reconstruction projects. They may do some of the maintenance work, your crack sealing and some of this work, but it's not the primary work that our members do. So at the association, we represent the interest of the asphalt industry. Whether that's on asphalt design and construction, helping to update specifications at the state DOT level, and also with local municipalities. We help market and promote the industry, and we assist with policy related issues at the local, state, and federal levels. Our asphalt producer members have approximately 75 facilities throughout the state of Wisconsin, with 3,600 employees. Aggregate resource providers, we have pits and quarries in over 275 locations throughout the state of Wisconsin. The reason I mention that, we literally have a presence in every single county, community in the state of Wisconsin. So hopefully you guys know who our members are, but if you don't, you can always visit our website. It'll give you a contractor list of the members that belong to our state association. We also have associate members, so your liquid asphalt suppliers that provide the liquid asphalt, maintenance contractors who do the work that we're talking about a little bit today, your chip seals, your scrub seals. Equipment manufacturers like Caterpillar, engineering consultants, testing facilities, all belong to our association. So we're a resource. And that's really why we're here today, is to educate you a little bit, but also to kind of familiarize ourselves with you guys as a resource. If you have questions, if you're not comfortable going to a contractor and saying, what is the benefit of this service or this product versus that, hopefully we can help be that resource for you. 75% of roadways in Wisconsin are surfaced with asphalt. I'm not going to go into a sales pitch of the benefits of asphalt, but I think that number means a lot for a few different reasons. And we broke it down by lane miles, by network. So if you're a village, 93% of your roadways are asphalt. If you're a city, 82% asphalt. The reason we mention that, again, the people in this room are our customers. You guys are our customers. So we want to make sure that you have all the information available to you. What are the tools that are available in your toolkit when you're looking at your roadway? Whether you're building, you're maintaining, you're trying to stretch your budgetary dollar. We want you guys to do that the best and most effective way that you can, because we want you to come back. We want you to be repeat customers. We want you to have a good experience with whatever product you have, or whatever method you guys are using. We don't want you to have a bad experience with something and go in a different direction. So use us as a resource. Some of the education and outreach that we offer at the association are lunch and learn trainings like this, where we get folks in a room and we talk about whatever is on your mind, whether it's professional engineers, government employees. We offer a whole host of different topics that we can talk about in our lunch and learn sessions. I heard one of the gentlemen talk about, asphalt may not be lasting as long as it used to, or you're seeing recycled asphalt in your mixes, and maybe that's a reason why your asphalt surface might not be lasting as long. We hear a lot of those questions and concerns at sessions like this, and the best that I can tell you is that we're listening. In the past couple years, we've been working with the DOT quite aggressively on improving the durability of our asphalt pavements. Ben mentioned it earlier, but there was a point in time when the state of Wisconsin was not using the proper asphalt binder for the climate that we face here in the state of Wisconsin. They were using a asphalt mix that would be better served for the southern part of our country. Long story short, without getting into the technical detail, they have asphalt binder that that works better in northern climate in your freeze-thaw cycles as the temperature dips below a certain temperature to help resist with cracking. So we've updated the proper asphalt binder that we use in the state of Wisconsin. We have started looking at performance testing in the state of Wisconsin. How can we torture and test our asphalt in the lab to a better degree that it's going to perform in the lab and it's going to perform on the roadway as well. It's not going to crack as easily. It's going to stay black longer. We recently doubled the application rate of tap coat that we put on our roadway. That was a specification change that was done at the DOT. So we have been doing things with the DOT to improve the performance and durability of our product. And a lot of that is a direct result of the sessions like this that we have, that we get the feedback from you guys, and we can go to work on how to improve our product. I won't get into a lot of the other slides that I have here because I do want to get into kind of the meat and potatoes of why we're here. We have a number of different outreach and services that we participate in with our Environmental Leadership Award. We present Asphalt Innovation Awards at our annual conference every year to a state DOT region, a city or county entity, and a business. We offer scholarships, student scholarships to technical colleges and universities throughout the state of Wisconsin. We have partnerships at the national level, at the state level, and with the DOT. Again, the reason I emphasize a lot of this is to illustrate that we're a resource for you guys. We're connected with a lot of the federal entities and state entities that you may attend conferences and workshops with. So, please, our doors are always open. We'll leave our contact information at the very end, and we just hope that you guys keep us in mind as questions come up. One last pitch before we get back into kind of the technical specification portion of the workshop today. We do host an annual conference at the Tuesday and Wednesday after Thanksgiving every single year. It was in Madison this year. We had a lot of participation from folks in this room. And that's actually how we got invited here today. We did a presentation on pavement preservation, covering a lot of the same topics that we're talking about today. But would encourage you guys to follow our website, get on our mailing list, find out about different workshops and conferences that are upcoming. There may be a lot of really good information that's beneficial to you. Other resources that are available on our website: we have an asphalt pavement design guide, PDF file on our website. We also have printed copies available as well, but it's a great resource for picking the right application for your roadways. We have a parking lot design guide and a whole host of other additional resources from economics, so talking about life cycle cost analysis, subdivision street designs on the engineering side, or pavement structure designs, the environmental impacts and things to consider when looking at pavement types. So with that, I'll stop talking about our association. Open it up for questions real quick if anybody has any questions about our association. Okay. If not, I'm going to introduce our engineering director, Debbie Schwerman. She's going to talk about pavement management, kind of pick up where Ben left off, and then we'll both be available for questions if you guys have anything.
Thank you very much. Alrighty, so Brandon talked a lot about what my lead-in was going to be, because it was something I didn't put in the presentation, but hearing some of the questions and everything, I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to talk about hot mix, right? Let's talk about all the good things that we're doing on that side of the house that maybe we're going to help slow down all these other uses that you need. But Brandon hit most of those high points for me. I do want you to know that we are doing something. Nationally, rutting was a problem. Nationwide, and they were like, we've got to solve the rutting problem. So the FHWA came in and mandated we solve the rutting problem. Well, we did. We solved the rutting problem, but we kind of propagated a crack problem. Okay? So now we're dealing with that. So what we've done in Wisconsin is to say, we're not going to wait for the feds to figure everything out. We're going to do what we know is right, which is get more liquid AC in the mix and more virgin liquid AC in the mix. So that's what we're doing now. So 5 years ago, I would have told you, you know what, at a plant as a producer, we could probably make you a different mix to better suit your needs and wants than a DOT mix. Now I will tell you, DOT's got it. Spec DOT. We've got a whole chapter in our design guide about all the stuff in there that you don't really need. But for the most part, Spec DOT. What they are doing now is the right stuff for your mix, for your roadways. Hands down, my opinion. But the 25 plus years I've got in this industry, that's my opinion. Fell in love with this a long time ago. It was a summer job that just stuck. So here I am wanting to talk to you guys about asphalt. The other thing I do want to talk about is cracking. We talk a lot about cracking. All cracking is not the same. You kind of have to know what crack you've got. Top down cracking is the ones that starts at the surface, penetrate down. Those are the ones you take off. You keep going, you're good to go. If it is a crack from the bottom up, totally different. Now you compromise your structure a little bit. Whatever you kind of do superficially on the surface, right, we're a flexible pavement. If you pave over a gap this big that's underneath it, guess what you're going to get on the surface? A gap that big, right? So cracking is not the same. You kind of have to know which way to do it. The best way, if you can't visually look and tell, core it. Take a quick core, see what you've got. Okay, so that's my preface. Now I'm going to get into, I'm going to do my best to attempt to pick up where Ben left off and talk to you now about recognizing the distresses you have and what you do next, right? So I'm going to go beyond the surface treatments and talk about the other type of applications that we have. So first off, what distresses do I have? How bad, how severe are those distresses, and how much of it do I have? So that's where we've got to start. And there's a lot of different distresses that we have, right? So traffic loading, right? The day-to-day traffic, the design, that's the actual structure of the pavement that's out there. The next, the environment. Mother Nature can be a beast, as you well know looking outside. Environment does a lot between the water, the sun, the UV. We talked about a lot of them, the freeze thaw that we have here in Wisconsin, let alone with construction, maintenance materials. I'll kind of lump them all together. We can take mixes in the industry and make them not perform maybe as best as we'd want them to do, right? There's a lot of things that we can do in the field that might add to some of these distresses as we go. So load distresses with the traffic, and some of these you'll see repeated throughout, but what types of distresses does the traffic do? Rutting is one of them, right? Fatigue cracking, just when you're starting to beat up that pavement. Your edge cracking, some of your reflection cracking, depending on whether it's top down or bottom up. Potholes is a lot of times attributed to the traffic. Environmental, this is where you're going to start to see your thermal cracking, your transverse cracking, block cracking. Reflection, again, can be from bottom up from the environment, from it weakening the pavement. Raveling, weathering, materials. Okay, this is if you're doing a lot of patchwork out there, those are going to come back and be areas of trouble for you. Polishing of aggregates, this stuff that you see down here. Shoving of mixes. Okay, construction, some of the things we can do out in the field, bleeding, right? Our longitudinal joints are the weakest parts of our pavements. that can create issues. Slippage, cracking, raveling, weathering. So what's the whole package here, right? What do we need to do to pull it all together? The first thing is know the treatments that are available, know the treatments that work in our area. A lot of that you guys are doing right now, just collaborating and working together to find out what are your options, what can you do. Know your pavements, okay? Get out there on a regular basis. I know it says every other year, but every pavement is going to be different, and let it tell its story, because sometimes that slope of distress can start out and be nice and slow and progressive, and other times it's going to go, and then once it hits that critical part, it's going to start to drop rather quickly. So you need to get to it ahead of time so you don't wind up in the rehab parts and the reconstruction parts of your pavements. So match up the pavement conditions with the treatment capabilities. And then, of course, there's always other things you have to consider, most of the time budgets, which are constraining, and then go with the best treatment that's available. So that's what we're going to try to wrap up here. The PACER manuals, it looked like everybody is pretty much aware of what's going on, so I'll kind of whip through this relatively quickly, but you know, it's to recognize the distresses that you have, and then give it a visual rating of 1 to 10. Okay, so this is I put on here that the WAPA recommended, because we do kind of, as Ben was alluding to, we will say get on it maybe a little bit sooner, okay, because there's a little bit more than just that rating there, but anyway, we're going to roll with it. I don't think Ben's going to disagree, otherwise he can definitely come up and disagree with me, that'd be just fine. So we're just going to start real quick. These are black and white pictures, these are straight out of the manual. I'll go quick through them. What I want you to do is get the visual picture of my 9s and 10s, right? They're really good. What are we going to do? Crack fill, right? Do what the yurt forms. Keep that water out. Keep the water out. The best advice I have to you, keep the water out of your pavements, right? Number one, number one, number one. But now we're going to move down, okay? And this is all of what Ben just spent his presentation talking on. These are still good roads. They're still in pretty good condition, but you're starting to see some things happen. Well, you know, there's a pretty wide variety of pictures there. So you're covering 6 to 8. So now you have a whole host of options. So definitely keep up with your crack filling, do patches where they need to be done. Now start looking at all your preservation treatments, right? Everything that Ben was talking about. And then I'm going to talk to you about the thin lift overlays, thin asphalt overlays, thin lays. There's a bunch of different terms for them, but conceptually they're all the same. That's what we're going to talk about. Patching 101. Okay, best practices, make sure you take out enough of the material that needs to be taken out, nice clean lines, no abstract art, right? Doesn't save anybody any money. Don't do that. Thin asphalt overlays. What are they? They're mixes that are typically put down from your surface mixes, right? So your 12.5 millimeter down to a 4.75. You know, we don't like to violate layer thicknesses, but it's pretty much anything under 1.5 inches. So it is a thin application of hot mix asphalt. Okay, we'll walk through some of these. It can be dense graded, your regular normal mix. It can be warm mix, stone mix asphalts. We don't do a whole lot of open graded friction courses, but other states do that as well. So if you're reading up on it, you'll hear it. I just didn't add it because we don't typically do that here in Wisconsin. It's not to be used on everything. Again, this is not a sales pitch. It's just another tool in the toolbox. Make sure you don't have drainage issues. Make sure that you don't have any big structural deficiencies that you need to worry about. Ride quality, you know, it'll do something for ride, again, because you're working with material out there. You're not just following what's there. But if you've got ride going like this, it's not going to solve your problem. Skid resistance, and check with your maintenance personnel, right? People that really know what's going on with the roadway when it's telling its story of where it's at, they're the ones that are in the know. When to use it, what can it be used for? Raveled out pavements, polished aggregates is another one. Longitudinal cracking, again, minor. We're not talking major stuff, no matter where it is, whether it's real path or outside of real path. Thermal cracking, transverse cracking, low severity rutting, right? If it's got a little bit and that thin lift is going to take it out 1.5 inches or 1 inch, that's fine. You know, this is obviously an exaggeration, but nothing major, nothing excessive, nothing major. When the road gets to that point, it's time for it to be milled off and removed away, and that's what it needs to do, okay? Again, when not to use it, bottom-up cracking, okay? If you've got the pavement that started at the bottom and it's coming up and that crack is just projecting wider and wider, it's not gonna help you. You need to fix that crack and then put a nice HMA overlay over top of it. Quality aggregates to be used, but it's the same stuff that we make our traditional HMA out of. The mix, I won't say is identical. It's not just taking a regular 12.5 millimeter or number 4 mix and putting it out there. We will typically put in some modified ACs. We actually increase our tack rates just a little bit. Now that we've doubled it, we're getting close. But we do put some attention in detail. There's special provisions within the DOT specifications for this. We have all of it at the association. If you'd like to do some of it, reach out to your contractors or reach out to us. We can help you with that. Paving, pretty much the same. You know, it's thinner, so it's going to cool off a lot faster. You pretty much don't want to stop the equipment. Once it starts, you want to go with it. Because if you think you're paving 1 inch thick, that'll cool off twice as fast as if you're paving 1.5 inches. That doesn't allow us a lot of window of opportunity to get everything rolled and compacted. The other thing we might put in there is a warm mix additive. That's not to decrease the temperature necessarily, but to aid in the compaction of the material. Basically, it just tricks the mix into thinking that it's hotter than what it is. That way, if temperature is starting to go down on us, it's still very workable. You don't want to do this late season or early spring. You want to have the temperature and the heat in the pavements. You don't want to battle that. Compaction, you know, density of it, it is the same. Typically, we don't use any vibratory rollers once we get less than 1 inch because we don't want to break the aggregate. You know, we don't want to hit the underlying layers and break the aggregates. But like any mix, we want to make sure it's consolidated, it's densified. We want really good compaction of that mix because we want it to be low permeable. We want it to have low permeability or to be very impermeable to keep the water out.
Deb, can you go back for just a second?
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to point out this is a demonstration project that we did in the city of Platteville. The city of Platteville has been doing thin overlays for over a decade. We recognize them at our annual conference with an Asphalt Innovation Award. You can either mill off the pavement and put down a thin asphalt overlay. The city of Platteville just puts the thin asphalt down right over what's there and what's existing. So it adds structural value to the roadway that's there. Just two different approaches to it, but just wanted to point that out. We have a number of counties that use a lot of thin overlays as well. So you know, don't be thinking in terms of, you know, state projects. There's a lot of local units of government that are using this.
Sometimes they will go straight over the gutter pan. And we can reach out and talk to them if you want more specifics.
Yeah,
City of Milwaukee is
I couldn't
another one.
remember on that.
They call it the high impact paving program, and that's more of a letting the neighbors know, hey, we're gonna shut down this road for 3 blocks, but you're gonna leave in the morning. When you come home, you're gonna have a brand new road. So that's what
That saves a lot of money, right?
yes. Yes, potentially. And granted, what we're gonna start talking about now, because again, this is in addition to your surface treatments, right? We're still talking about the maintenance side of things. So you're gonna pay more for it, but the expectations are also greater for it. And so you'll start to see those breakdowns in life and cost in a second. I saw that hand first. Yes, go ahead.
2 questions. Is the ratio of the tack coat the same with this thinner?
So it is now currently written 0.08 gallons per square yard, but our application rate for regular tech used to be 0.025, so that was a lot. Now that we've doubled the rate to 0.05 to 0.07, it's pretty close, but if we're gonna do this project, yeah, we're still gonna put down a 0.08 probably, or at least go to the high side of 0.07.
Are municipalities really doing this with curb and gutter? I mean, I'm trying to think like storm inlets and stuff. How are you building up?
When you can't, they'll mill off. They'll mill off and then put it back, but at least then you're not doing a 2 inch or whatever. You can take this down to 3/4 of an inch.
So I'm saving in materials, I mean,
Yeah.
because I'm still milling.
You're still milling, but you will save in the materials. And again, there are some things that make this unique. you know, not to get in the nitty gritties, but we look at the fracture of that's the angularity of the coarse aggregates as well as the fine aggregates. So that's something that changes. Our VMA, which is a whole other thing about without the asphalt, what is that structure telling you and the air voids there. So there's a lot of other things that make this unique. This isn't just, okay, I'm just paving thinner. Not really. We're giving you a better performing mix to do this.
Are the air voids the same?
Air voids, the air voids are designed. Right now we're doing regression, which means we design them all the same and take the air voids down. This one we design to a 3% instead of a 3.5 with regression, or it's still 3% with regression, but we design it straight to 3 with this one. Yes.
So how about crack propagation through the base layer? Because it's so thin, do you experience faster reflective cracking?
Typically not faster with the thin lift overlays based off of all the things that make it unique between the aggregate that we use, and we typically will put in a highly polymerized asphalt, which a lot of times isn't happening with the traditional overlays. That's just a standard grade, and that will help mitigate the crack. But it is, I mean, once asphalt is flexible, so the cracks will come up. It's just delaying them and pushing them off longer, hopefully. Yeah.
Can you use fabrics underneath that to expand over those cracking areas?
I would have to see who's done anything with fabrics, to be honest with you. We've kind of gotten away from it a little bit, but I know a lot of locals do. I would have to go ask for their experience, to be honest with you. I know that Platteville doesn't, Milwaukee doesn't.
Yeah, none of, I can't think of any local entities that have with the thin overlay.
Yeah.
But we can check.
Yeah, if it's something that you'd like to know, you know, definitively, please just drop us a business card or something. I'm happy to ask the question. See what we can get. Anybody have any other questions? Sorry, I get on a roll and I just get excited and I just keep talking.
No, I
Yes,
stopped you.
Yeah, thank you.
If it's more flexible, do you receive more rutting liquid, or on the thin layers is it rutting?
So far, no rutting that I'm aware of, and probably because it is thinner, probably even helps. Because most of the rutting will be reflective of what's underneath. So if you don't have rutting there, you know, you'd have to have subpar material to get rutting in that surface, and this isn't, as long as it's done correctly. Okay. Do stop me, because otherwise I'll keep going. You know, there's a whole list here you guys can read, you know, what all this is, but typically, you know, if you're doing the regular pavement treatments, they're thin, they're going to kind of follow what's out there. This gives you a chance, you know, at 3/4 of an inch up to 1.5 inches to really improve your ride, improve, you know, the crack delaying that you're going to get, gives you some structure, reduction of noise, all those type of things. So there's a lot of benefits to it, but it is definitely going to cost you more. It's being able to break that cost over time. So that's what I kind of want to get into right now. The chart that Ben had in his presentation is pretty similar to this one as far as we've got distresses over here, and then the different types of applications up on the top. So we tried to break this down for you. This is on our website, so all these next ones that kind of get really detailed, you can find on our website.
No, you're good. I just wanted to mention, so I think that this may be instructional. If you guys take anything away from our part of the presentation, it's the next 3 slides, and they're available on our website. But I think, again, and you'll see it over the next slide or two, but when you're comparing a chip seal versus a micro surface, you know, just understand that they're addressing different distresses. So if you have a low level of thermal cracking due to our temperature in Wisconsin, maybe a chip seal might be a good candidate for you. If you're seeing more thermal cracking from the environment after a harsh winter, maybe a scrub seal or a thin overlay would be a better candidate to look at. So again, all of these are really good tools in your toolkit, as somebody mentioned and used that phrase. I really like that, because I think there's a place for all of these different treatments. It's just finding the right place and the right time, and what are you trying to address? You know, is it fatigue cracking? Is it bottom up cracking, or is it top down cracking? Is it roughness and ride, or are you just looking for a better riding surface? Hopefully the next 3 slides will help you walk through that, talk about life of all of those different treatments, and then what that's going to cost.
So do you have to have a comparative pricing, just 1x, 2x?
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's gonna be my next one. What I wanted to break it down for you right now would be years. Okay, what is your expectation? And again, some of it depends on when. So what we did was we tried to break up the thin overlay, because there is a difference. If you're gonna put 1.5 inches on versus 3/4 of an inch, okay, let's keep it apples to apples. So we did break it down this way. Then we picked these 3 to do. If there's one of these that you wanna know with the slurry seal, what do they say, let us know. We can dig up that information for you. What we did was we reached out to our associate members. We wanted it to be as unbiased as possible. Like Brandon said, our producer members don't really do much of this other than the thin lift overlays. So we started with a PACER rating of 7 or higher. Of these are the expectations. Ballpark, if you're into your 5s and your 6s, and then your 4s and downs. So that's how we broke this down for you as far as years of what you can expect of these surface treatments. And then these are the dollars and the cents of it. Okay? And so what we did was we broke it up, and there are ranges, okay? We understand that it's anywhere from, A to B. So we did try to encompass all of those ranges. This time we added the chip seal with a fog, and the reason why we did that is because, you'll see it's not that much money per square yard to put a fog seal over a chip seal, but they're recommending it. From the ones that we reached out to, they want to fog over it right away, because the whole idea is to encapsulate that aggregate into that binder and hold it there. So by putting over that nice layer of emulsion, will just help seal it all in there together. So we've been told that they're recommending fogging over the chip seal.
So when you do a chip seal, you're chip sealing and you're coming back the following day to sweep and then follow it up by a fog seal?
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out the days that you would be
Yep.
interrupting traffic.
I think it's just the one day in between before they fog. And then you fog, and as soon as the water is out